Well, after a long and hard season of NASCAR trucking, it's finally time to start competing for a championship. 5 rounds remain in the 2024 Season 6 Area Truck Series. Bristol, Michigan, Iowa, Kansas, and Atlanta, where we'll crown a champion in 2024. But to get it all started, we head to the short track, the last great Coliseum, the world's fastest half mile. It doesn't seem to matter what you call it. It is one of NASCAR's best racetracks. It is one of the highest action places in the smallest packages. And we're here tonight for 180 laps in the first round of the Area Truck Series playoffs. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn. Connor, tonight we go trucking with 30 trucks for that 180 laps that I mentioned, and it's now going to matter a whole lot more than it did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it matters a lot more, and what better way to open the playoffs with a short track? Things could really get wild, and how close so many drivers are on the cut line coming into this round of 12. Anything can happen. With 30 trucks in the field, anything can happen. One bad finish can completely derail your entire playoff run, but one good finish, in specifics, one victory could change everything for you. And we'll see if anyone can top anyone like Jake Nichols or John Hall tonight. Those two are the main favorites, but there's so many players at a track like this.
Yeah, certainly. And last night's Cup Series race was 20 laps longer, and it was really fast-paced. We had a couple of yellows to slow the progress down, but I think tonight we're going to see something similar. We've got a slightly smaller field, but the stakes are higher. So could we see more wrecks? Possibly. Could we see long green flag runs? Absolutely. Not exactly sure what we're going to get tonight, but we do know that it's going to be high-octane, high-action. And it's nighttime here. We had a day race yesterday, Connor, so that might shift the balance of things over the course of a run a little ways. Figuratively and also literally, I think you're going to see the shift of balance change a little bit. I think these trucks aren't going to handle as well because of the nighttime. There's so much grip that we might see drivers just spin a lot. Too much grip, especially out of the corner and into the corner. We saw it last season when John Hall went to victory lane. So many yellows caused by drivers just diving to the bottom too hard and just washing up and spinning. I see it all the time. In the nighttime could be the right time for some drivers, but I think as far as handling, this is going to be a challenge for people compared to last night, where I think the Cup cars were pretty built into the track, very snug, very tight. I don't think the trucks are going to handle like that at all. You can see drivers fishtailing it off the corner. That was Chris Seidenfaden in the 45. I've seen multiple other drivers fishtailing. You saw Garrett Grant get loose there. Another truck, Eric Wineland, got a little sideways out of the corner. Rear grip is going to be at a premium. So that will be something to watch. We've really seen that be an issue all year long, but especially tonight when the stakes are so much higher. 2 races per round, I should say, of this championship playoff system. So if you make a mistake tonight, you only get 1 week to make up for it, and you might have to leave here in a must-win scenario, which nobody wants to be in heading to Michigan, which is as much of a wild card as Talladega these days, especially in the Truck Series side of things.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a wild card for both Cup and Truck. I don't know about the Pro Series, but yeah, Michigan, you don't want to have to go there winning. It's basically a super speedway from what we saw the last time. I believe we went there where David Weiser went to victory lane. It was like 3rd or 4th on that last lap. So tonight, you don't want to have to go into Tuesday winning Michigan. A track position track, a draft track. It is going to be pretty much the opposite of the type of chaos we see at Bristol, but probably the highest amount of chaos compared to Bristol as well. They probably go hand in hand. So you need to have a good result tonight, especially for those drivers below the cut line, like Licata, Shear, Patrick Moose. All those guys need good results to try to jump the other. So practice is complete. We'll head into qualifying here. Seth Knoll, top practice. Now it gets a lot more important. I do think qualifying matters quite a bit here. Track position is at a premium. And with this race so short, I don't think you have a lot of opportunity to advance. So you've got to make your laps right now count as much as possible. Jeremy Miller is the first driver to load into the racetrack. We'll see if he is the first one to launch. And in fact, it will be Vincent Cortez that beats him to the launch up onto the racetrack here. On the left-hand side, those in the playoffs above the cut line currently are in blue, just like last night, and those that are below the cut line are in yellow. And as drivers are eliminated mathematically or advance mathematically, they will be lit up in green or red, respectively, as Miller going to take the green. The green first. Cortez hit the wall. Miller got really close to it, and he's actually going to hit the wall. You get 2 laps at tracks below a mile, so you'll have one more shot at it, but getting those tires warmed up for lap 2 I think is pretty important, so he's going to be wishing he didn't do that. Last night, I feel like most of the people who are really fast were around the bottom of the racetrack, kind of entered middle, exited lower. In the track, you're seeing the first few drivers out running the high line, like Bryce Senesac. He goes 3rd out of the 4 drivers. Joshua Balliet, provisional pole. Licata's provisional 2nd. We'll see if that holds. Not for long. Patrick Moose now at the top of the board, but you can see, at least to me, a different lane than what I saw last night.
Good runs there for Moose and Lakatos. They're in yellow. That tells me that they need a good points night. Here comes Beckner, starting a lap.
From that high line, it's full commitment on that high line. You really can't afford to have too much off throttle time with how much grip is in the nighttime at this track. You need to have all the grip in the world, and Beckner doesn't have it, but he went to the top of the board with a 14.625. Miller's second, now Moose is third, as Bappy's going to try to shut it down, and he did shut it down before the line. You see how important that second lap is. Wow. Drivers just trying to crash themselves as Travis Beckner to the top. Danny Ware to second. What a lap that is.
And that was only by 5/1000ths of a second off of poles, so he's right in the mix. That's very, very close. Jeremy Brown goes to 9th, knocks Lakatos down. But Ware, another one of those drivers that needs a pretty solid night. Cameron Hearn, a 14.669. That's only going to be good enough for 7th. And
7th place, but actually it's probably one of the faster drivers who were in the bottom. It seems like everyone else was on the top, but Hearn made it work on the bottom of the racetrack as Beckner still pole, Miller third, Ware second, then Moose and Cortez, Daniel Day and David Weissert, the only other two playoff drivers in the top 10. Scratch that. Matthew Backby just went to the top of the board with a 606, so that would be a huge point for him to gain, as Brad Slaughter, who's I don't believe, not in the playoffs this season after making it last season to the round of 8, but trying to go out with a bang, get some victories as he times 9th on lap number 1.
Yeah, P9 for
lap
him. P10, Santa Sogak bumps him. John Hall, what does he have in the 0-3 tonight? Well, that's not going to be a time to be proud of. This second lap will be, though. He's going to take that first lap slow, second lap fast method we saw work pretty well last night.
I wish I did that last night, but as you can see, he's getting as close to the wall on entry, but he cuts it down sort of middle-ish on exit. This looked pretty good.
Yeah, good lap. P5.
Solid. I'm sure he was probably expecting more, but he's only 300ths off Bappy, so that's tough. He's 5th, and he's 100th off Beckner second. So just we always talk about it, how tight this qualifying can be as Eric Weiland comes across the line. Now you're sitting at 7 playoff drivers out of the 12 in the top 10. The only exception, Sean Peachin went 4th. That's a great lap for him. And then Jeremy Miller and Vincent Cortez.
Wineland on his second lap does improve to it. Wow, that's a second place, wow. 14.623. He'll be proud of that.
That's great. Got some good underdog lap times tonight so far. Wineland Peachin in the top 6. Pacey Wygen, how about him? He just missed the playoffs. He just went 5th. Jake Nichols finally qualifies. He just went 2nd on the board. And now Seth Knoll. It's just funny, isn't it? 6 cup wins now. Still looking for the first truck win.
Yeah, and these are such different machines that it's not surprising that you'd have more success in one than the other, but maybe not to this degree. I mean, he's in the playoffs, but we'll see what it does for him. 14.552 goes to the top.
Wow, by a half a tenth. That lap was crazy to look at. You could see the sense of the speed in these trucks around this track at night. There's just no let off in these guys. That was incredible speed. The average time around this track is wild when you get the grip level up like that. I don't think anyone else has got to go, so Seth Knoll might have just gotten it right at the right time. Reef Slade's going to pull out of pit lane, but he doesn't have time to do anything. But that's a big bonus point for Seth Knoll to get.
Yeah, it's a big one, and qualifying here is complete. We'll head down to the racetrack here momentarily after a short warm-up period. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you've got Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat, and you can earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today at twitch.tv/Area iRacing. And our starting grid sponsor tonight is Central Mobile Homes. Looking for a smaller, large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer? Look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com to get started today. So with Bristol on the horizon here, we've got Michigan next week, Iowa, Kansas, and Atlanta. This Iowa's sort of a short track, but this is really the only true short track on the calendar as far as how it races for the rest of the season. I think the 1.5 milers and up, those drivers that excel at that will be excited to have Kansas and Atlanta finish out the season. But if you win tonight, Connor, you accelerate through Michigan, which could be a huge deal with how much we've seen that race turn into chaos in recent years.
Yeah, that'd be a huge deal. Literally anyone but John Hall and Jake Nichols, if one of them win, it's a huge relief for those guys. I think without winning tonight, Nichols and Hall, they're probably fine without it, and they'll probably be able to survive Michigan. But everyone else, that win would be huge to get away from Michigan, not have to deal with any of the chaos, and just kind of run your race, do what you want. The only thing you can't do if you win this week, don't cause incidents, don't give yourself EOLs or anything like that. Edward Shear is going to have one tonight, so he's going to have a tough start to the playoffs at the back of the field, which he's kind of been doing that all season long and still made the playoffs. Just shows how resilient that 17 has been. So it's going to be interesting to see who can conquer this half mile. This is usually a track that, like you said, the pace is fast here, the races go by fast, and the track position is very, very important. And timing that final pit stop, what could be your only pit stop as well, timing that pit stop at the right time could be so important.
So last night, late in the race, we saw, with a couple late yellows, Jake Nichols come down for tires towards the end. What's your thought on that tonight? We haven't seen so much tire wear in the Cup Series side of things, but could that strategy work better in the trucks or maybe on Thursday in the Florida State Polaris Area Pro Series?
It's going to be interesting. I don't know if we're going to see that same scenario tonight, because last night, the way the yellow fell under green flag pit stops, you only had about 5 drivers lead lap, and you didn't get that many people getting back on the lead lap through the lucky dogs, because the leaders pretty much only pit that one time and only gave us one opportunity for wave around. So that was a very weird situation that played into the leaders' favor. I don't disagree with what Nichols was doing, because there was no one behind him anyways. So a situation like that, if we see a bunch of people go a lap down, I don't hate just getting rid of all your tires. But if you don't have that many people go laps down, where you only have maybe a third of the drivers on the lead lap, you're probably taking some tire sets over to Michigan.
Let's run through our starting lineup presented by Central Mobile Homes. Seth Knoll, Matthew Batby, 2 playoff competitors kick off your front row tonight.
Then Jake Nichols, who might be the title favorite this season, will start 3rd. Eric Wineland, a great Q lap, he'll start up in 4th.
Starting in row number 3, it's Travis Beckner in the number 28 playoff competitor. Pacey Wygant not in the playoffs, just looking for a win. He starts 6th.
Daniel Ware, one of those drivers lit up in yellow. He's actually the furthest up lit up in yellow. He needs a good run tonight. He'll start 7th alongside Sean Peachin, another great Q run. He starts 8th.
Starting in row number 5, it's John Hall, the 0-3 playoff competitor in that Ford F-150. Jeremy Miller rolls off 10th in the number 30.
11th position, Patrick Moose. He had a great charge at the end of his season to point in. Now the real work starts from 11th, and he'll be alongside Vincent Cortez in 12th.
13th place, Ed Scherer Jr. in the number 17. On the outside looking in and moving on already. He's got work to do. Daniel Day has less work to do, but still some. Rolls off 14th in the number 61.
And Scherer will be our one and only EOL penalty tonight. 15th position, Justin Sogak, the Talladega winner in the Pro Series last week, but not in the playoffs in the Truck Series. He starts 15th, and Cameron Hearn starts 16th.
17th place is Reese Schaefer in the number 07. And then he's a playoff competitor. Brad Slaughter Jr. is not 18th place for the number 81 machine.
19th position will go to the 2 of Gary Waterworth, who was 2 positions away from getting into the playoffs last week at Talladega. He'll start alongside David Weishart in the number 33.
And Joshua Bally at 21st place in the number 7 Toyota Tundra. Jeremy Brown starts 22nd in the 87.
And then 23rd position, the 5 of Garrett Grant, who had some antics last night, but he'll be in the field tonight. And Case Licata is the furthest back playoff driver starting position-wise tonight. He'll start 24th.
25th place, Bryce Senesac in the 09. Devin Johnson rolls off 26th in the number 90. Then it's Lucas Strayer, Rafe Slate, Tyler Hallman, and Chris Seidenfeiden that make up the rest of the field. Pick me a winner tonight, Connor. Who's going to the front?
It's really, track position is going to be premium. I can't imagine anyone outside the top 10 being able to do much, but we've seen some funky strategies all season long. So I got to go with Seth Knoll. He's on pole. He's been due for a truck win. He won the Cup race last night again, so I'm going to put it on the 1.
All right. Man. I think Travis Beckner gets to the front. I like the aggression at a short track like this. I like that he's in the playoffs and he's looking racy. I think the 28 gets it done this evening. We'll see how things pan out. Our replay sponsor tonight is Henry County Motorsports Park. Racing is back at the Henry County Motorsports Park. Join us later this month to see UMP Open Wheel Modified, street stocks, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off U.S. Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more information. Calm before the storm here. 30 trucks, 180 laps. If this race were to miraculously go green flag from flag to flag, we would see this race be completed in 44 minutes. Unlikely, but possible. Time to go from Bristol. The Area Truck Series playoffs begin. Green flag and racing at the last great Coliseum.
Right off the jump, I believe Bappy jumped that start. I think he has a black flag, but we'll see how this gets rolled. He's going to take the lead.
We'll go back and look at that later, especially if we get a yellow flag, but frantic start. Bappy has the advantage. Eric Wineland in the 21. Remember, he started in 4th. He's dropped a spot right now as he chases Beckner and Nichols for that 3rd spot.
It started on the high side, but it seemed like the bottom line got the better jump for the drivers. Not race leader Seth Knoll, but you can already see most drivers just running different lanes, but the drivers clear the chaos kind of up the track. Nichols kind of hogging the middle line. Beckner's going to have to try to go to the inside, but that pass on the bottom line so tough to make work.
And you mentioned the chaos. This is all of it right in the middle of the field right now. And this is kind of where the trouble spots were last night. It wasn't really the front of the field that got dramatic or chaotic. It was always the middle to the back as people scramble to try to run from the leaders as they come around to put you a lap down. And Jake Nichols did a lot of that work last night, putting drivers a lap down. Didn't end up winning the race, but definitely trapped a lot of drivers.
It trapped a lot of drivers, and that was really important towards the playoffs, not really splitting up too much. Most of the drivers, pretty much where everyone was seated yesterday, that's pretty much where everyone finished, so it did not end up changing that much. So we'll see if we get that again. I think we're going to see a lot more people stick out the long run as long as possible, because I don't think you're going to see that tire wear as severe as we saw last night.
Nichols losing a spot here to Beckner. The front 4 all kind of condensing together. Seth Knoll would really like his first place back. What happened to the black on that 89? Did he get one?
Not cleared. I'm sure they're still reviewing it, but I remember they had a quick review at Chicagoland for I jumped the restart, but that was interesting. It was kind of the same thing where the driver outside front row beat the leader to the line. That's usually a no-no, but I don't think they've ruled on it yet. Oh, Beckner just had a big wiggle.
Let's go back and look at the start. Yeah, you see him very clearly beat Knoll to the stripe. But battle's on for the lead.
Going on right now, Knoll is faster. I think he knows he's faster, but I think he might, I don't know if he is going to try to race this like Bappy's not the leader, or he's going to try to race him like he is the leader. Crash at a turn number 2, saw someone spinning. I think it's Eric Wineland, caution.
He'll get back rolling, but doesn't look like a lot of damage. He might have had some help from the 38 of Patrick Moose, and he just kind of got squeezed, actually. And around he went. A little bounce off the wall, but no major issues for him besides the spin.
That was interesting there. Just very early to go 3 wide for sure, but nothing saying that you can't do it. So just a little bit of a squeeze there as we'll get up going. It's a shame for Wineland because he had such a good start, but he was dropping big time.
So 11 laps in, our first yellow of the night. Gives the admins an opportunity to review the Batby situation. So easy to get a good launch on the outside.
That's kind of what makes it tough to rule that at a track like this, because the outside just naturally, I think, going to launch better. So that makes this decision even harder than it is at Chicagoland, where you're doing it on the straightaway, but you're starting this race out of a corner, so it's hard for Knoll to get a better jump than Bappy. And yeah, there's not much. It's going to be really hard to rule because obviously changes the complexion of this race, because you figure Knoll maybe settles in, kind of runs his pace, but now instead it's Matthew Bappy running the pace that he wants.
So lights on. I don't think we'll see any pit stops here early. A few in the back have decided to come on down. I don't think we're really in the window that makes sense, I'd imagine, to stretch it. Maybe?
I mean, maybe if you think you can save enough fuel, but even then I think that's probably unrealistic. But we'll see if anyone wants to try. I would be pretty shocked if that ended up making a difference for sure.
So it should be a pretty quick yellow. I think we've got everyone on the lead lap, so we should get the one to green, and we do. Lights are out. We'll double up and try this again. Batby now on the outside, where I think he'd rather be anyway.
Yeah, and we do believe it's still getting reviewed, so we'll see if anything gets... This would kind of be unfortunate if Batby got a penalty now, because he's already had to go... He's going to have to go through another restart at this point, so... You know, we heard from admins how close it is, and it did look close, but once again, it's kind of a product of the track, but we'll see how Seth Knoll attacks this restart. I think he's got to attack it like Batby's not going to have a penalty, but I think Batby and Beckner are going to work together here. Watch that 28th and maybe get the second.
Pace car's off. Let's try it again. Lap 15, we're going to restart. Batby on the outside's your leader, and we're underway. Sean Peachin up on the outside there. He's got somebody. Oh, there they go. I knew that was going to happen, and they're all going to crash. The 98's in it. It's a huge pile-up in turn one. Unbelievable crash. The 69's up and over.
I see 3 playoff drivers in there. Weishart's there. Danny Ware's there. I think Scherer spun in that. What a huge crash. I have never seen a crash that big at Bristol in this series.
I mean, that just took out a huge number of important trucks, and just...
Daniel Day, another playoff driver. That might have been a third or half of our playoff drivers.
I mean, that's huge, and that takes out a lot of competitors from the race, too. I don't think some of these trucks are going to drive again after this.
And you saw what happened there. Cortez just tapped Peach, and that's all it took, as Cameron Hurt bulldozed through there somehow, but... Yeah, 17, 98, 33, at least 4 or 5 playoff drivers in that is... Peachin's coming up, just getting a spot back, but yeah, that will definitely that'll shake things up big time, as like you said, multiple drivers are going to be out of a race because of this, I would think.
So second yellow night, that one's a much bigger deal, and at least Danny Ware's out, and Peachin will be out. Maybe the others can salvage it.
I thought I saw Daniel Day in that crash, but I'm not sure if he even hit or not. So that's all. We noted Case Licata started in the 24th position. Well, I think he avoided that. He's already in 8th, as I believe Daniel Day did pit. So he's up to 8th position. Even Weishart, I can't even tell. Weishart might have stayed out, but he's got pretty big damage as well. He's probably going to be getting big repairs. So already a lot of playoff drivers in that too that needed good nights who were around that cut line as well.
Man, pit lane, it's just lit up like a Christmas tree down there right now with drivers getting crash repairs and things of the sort. Do you believe that we're 10% of the way done with this race already? That's how fast this is going to go.
Yeah, we might have eliminated 10% of the trucks.
Yeah, I think some of them will get back
3,
repaired.
So we definitely, which would be 3 trucks, so it's even more than that.
Yep. Yeah, 3 are definitely done.
Yeah, I would think Danny Ware, I'd be shocked if he got in again. Cortez got totaled. Peachin, was it Peachin in the air? I didn't even see who was in the air.
It was Peachin that went for the roll.
Eric Wineland's crash doesn't look too bad now.
If you're going to crash, do it in spectacular fashion, I suppose, but I thought that's what Talladega was for.
Well, I mean, we did have Scherer fly across the line last week, but he didn't flip. But that was just kind of as spectacular as it got. But no, we got to the half mile, put the 2.66 miler to shame.
And lights are out again. And we'll get restarted here once more, lap 21 of 180. And for 4 playoff competitors, things are going real well. They're the top 4, then Wygant and Miller. Then 3 more playoff competitors. Lakanis having a pretty solid night so far.
Yeah, it'll be huge for him with all the people around him that just went out. Weishart was right around him. Patrick Moose is in the back. Shears, I think, good. But Danny Ware, Weishart, those guys having trouble would be huge for the 50 if he could salvage a good finish. It's too early to talk about salvaging, but qualified 24th, it wasn't looking good.
Here we go, green flag back underway from Bristol. Beckner on the move here forward. He's going to take second place away. Knowles tries to keep the story alive up on the outside there. Throttles into 3.
drivers once again who have had some history. I think, oh, we got Slaughter spinning in the background, but he saved it, so we're going to keep this side-by-side battle for second. Weiland had to avoid, but somehow the 81 did not bring out a yellow. As that battle for second rages on, Danny Ware is fully out of the race. He'll almost certainly be must-win next week. As that battle for second goes on, you can see that top line has the advantage, but it almost looks like Bappy's backing the one up a little bit, whether intentional or not. It's letting Beckner get a run on the bottom.
Yeah, that could be helping, but I don't know how much you really feel in control around here. Sometimes it just feels like you're just trying to survive every lap, and placing the car that intentionally is a skill, I think. See if Nichols can try to poke a hole in the defense here. These three trucks, where do you go? Lines are running out.
I think you just kind of got to sit in line way too early to try 3 wide for the lead, or second for that matter. Just kind of got to hope the lane you're in starts going, and you can kind of box Beckner into the bottom. Beckner's going to try to get to the outside, but 73 just got the nose in there in time to make sure it didn't happen. Beckner will want to try again, but he won't be able to do so.
Gets alongside the 28, throttles up. Pacey Wygant sees that door opening. He's going to follow the fellow green truck through there, I think, as long as Beckner doesn't try to slide up between him, and he will just in time to close off Wygant. He'll try the bottom now.
And Wygant, I don't think, is going to be able to make that pass on the bottom. The pace is just too high, as Miller's going to try to get by the 00. You can see how high the pace is. Just looking at these trucks go around the racetrack, you can tell just how fast everyone's going. These passes are going to be so tough to make without contact.
Line astern here, single filing out. Now we're clicking off some laps here. Justin Enesogak and Bryce Senesac side by side.
Senesac trying to get up through the field. Enesogak's also trying to get back up through the field, as he might have been one of those drivers who topped off on fuel. If we go green, maybe we'll see if it makes a difference, but I have my doubts for sure, as 4 playoff drivers in the top 4. Fourth in the wall. That was a good stave, but it just shows how on edge these drivers are because of how fast the pace is.
And the pace is fast right now. 15-second laps. A little bit of side-by-side. Seidenfeiden in the 45, trying to carve his way forward. Batby and Knoll, they have got away from Nichols for a moment. We'll see if they battle mano a mano here.
By the way, we didn't know, but that there was no action on the initial start. It was too close to call, so they just can't make a call. So works out for Matthew Bappy. He gets all these laps led.
Oh, Seidenfeiden
out.
Yep, that's the 45.
Like a single.
It's on his own here, I think. Maybe he gets some help later.
Definitely struggled out of 4 that time, and yeah, you could just see the rear was never under him after he had to slide somewhere, I'm sure. And
got the tires hot, and now this. I feel like this might open the door for a pit stop. What are your thoughts on this? Still too far?
I would not be surprised if you did. You very well might be able to cover off any other pit stop if you do it here. So I would not be surprised to see some drivers take fuel and tires to fall off. I mean, it didn't look, that big. But Matthew Bappy was still running 15.2s, which is maybe about 0.6 of a second off his fastest lap, but off his general fast pace, only 0.3. He's going to pull in.
Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. I think you're kind of in a window now, especially with the potential for a lot more yellows tonight. Maybe you want tires later, but I just think that now is enough laps to matter.
I don't know if you want tires later unless it's that big of a difference, but we'll see how it all shapes out. Looks like Case Lakatos is going to stay out, at least get a lap led once the 89 peels off his stall. We'll see if the 50 even leads a lap there, but it definitely looks like he's going to stay out. And Sogak, I think even Seidenfeiden might have stayed out there, but everyone came in that time, as there's a big gap between the top 8 and Reese Schaefer. How sideways these trucks are. You do not try 2 tires. Not going to work tonight.
I don't think you want that extra yaw.
No, that's a death sentence at a track like this right now. But with all the chaos, it's not the worst thing in the world for Lakatos to get a lap led, go to the back. You might be able to get those spots back, and then you have the bonus point. As Bappy got off pit lane first, and Knoll, Nichols, Beckner, and Miller ahead of John Hall. It looks like Rafe Slake got a speeding penalty, so he'll go to the back.
So we'll see if this strategy works. I don't think it will. They're not going to be worried about tire sets or anything of the sort, but maybe they're banking on some more yellows and just trying to bank this track position for later. I think I would have come this time and maybe planned again another 50 or 60 laps should we get another yellow, but yeah, I think after lap 100 I'm staying out on the track.
Definitely a risk for sure, because the tire difference is going to be evident and they're going to be flanking him both sides. I think if he's smart, he just clogs the top line, makes him go around the bottom, but this is going to be very sketchy for these three drivers, especially Seidenfaden. I mean, I'm shocked he stayed out. He just spun, but who knows? We'll see.
Doubled up, lights are out on the pace car. Let's send him around another half mile and turn him loose once more after our third yellow of the night, third or fourth.
I believe our third, but that the second one kind of counts as two with how big of a crash that was. The way the playoffs are looking, or at least the points are looking right now, Daniel Day's still in by 3 over Weishart, but he is massively destroyed.
Doubled up, here we go. Lakatos is the leader, green flag, and we're back underway from Bristol. One more time. Batby looking to the outside. That's aggressive, way aggressive to the outside. 3 wide for the lead, and he might just get it. He does.
Ooh, Lakatos is wiggling back. Batby's back to the front. This restart is going to really hurt Seth Knoll. He got stuck behind the 45, and look at the positions he lost. He's behind the 73, the 30, the 28 is going to go by, and he still hasn't gotten to the outside.
Oh boy. The one of Knoll, he's also trapped. And the 30 car spins, middle of the field. He saves it, but the caution is out.
Reese Schaefer's in that, another playoff driver.
Oh man. Not a lot of damage I can see, but
Goodness.
I think this started kind of in trail of that, and the 30 slips, everyone checks up, accordion effect, and around they went. I don't think any big hits here. But
definitely hit the wall a little bit there, but yeah, I think you'll be able to repair that. But definitely right. That was like a 5-truck line there that had all stacked up from I think the 41 was at the back of it. It got all the way to whoever was at the front of it. So that was a really intense restart, and it was very, very costly for Seth Knoll because he was running second or third. Now he's going to be restarting probably in the 5th or 6th position. Reese Schaefer got caught behind the pace car, so he'll have to, I don't even know if he'll be able to do repairs because he's got to stay lead lap. Eric Weiland gets the lucky dog. I'm hearing cat issues.
Yep. Right in front of the microphone, too.
Yeah, you can tell. That was very obvious.
Now he's biting the microphone. Okay, this cat is driving me insane. So Cottis is still going to stay out. Beckner's now 5th. That restart didn't go that well for him either, but Seth Knoll just, that track position loss, any track position loss matters, especially when it's at the very front like he has been. Edward Shearer, I did see him snake through that. Now he's in the 11th position. He did not bring it down. I thought he had contact with 09, but clearly wasn't enough to take any repair. Hey, what, Batby got clear to that penalty, and he has pace tonight, doesn't he? And he was gutsy with that move on the outside. He wasn't just going to wait around for it. He took him 3 wide immediately. Got what he was looking for.
Yeah, that was perfect. I mean, he had to go. You can't just wait for them to get out of your way. You saw the wiggle in 3 that Lakatos had. If Batby's behind him on his bumper, that could end up crashing him and a bunch of others, and he could be looking at a horrible finish, but he definitely made the right move there. Cannot wait on the older tires, and you saw the difference older tires makes there compared to new tires. Just no grip. They were all struggling there, but it was a driver on new tires that ended up spinning out and kind of causing that crash. At least now as it runs, you got Bappy leading. Jake Nichols as it runs would probably be locked into the next round on points. And Shearer still, now it's Shearer
Right.
hanging on to
I
3 points over
this
Daniel
cat
Day.
out of this room is driving me nuts. Go.
Welcome to Area Plus a Cat.
I just can't have him climbing over the microphone. It's driving me insane. Okay. Doubled up, and we'll restart again. Lap 46 of 180.
Big restart for Lakatos and Anasogak, and those guys again, they still have not pit.
Green flag. We're back underway. Lap 46. Batby fires off, and we're 3 wide again behind him already. Are we going to survive this time?
Anasogak didn't go, caused that stack up. Now Nichols is stuck 3 wide on the bottom. They almost looked 4 wide. Lakatos is holding 3 different trucks up, and now it's Beckner and Nichols who are going to get the jump as Seth Knowles once again boxed in.
This is dicey here. Beckner trying to get by Lakatos. This call has worked out pretty well for Casey, all things considered, even with a couple of yellows and some green flag running. Still P4. He might lose some spots. Beckner slides and checks up the field behind him.
And Knoll did a great job.
There they go.
Nope, not there. Now Knoll's in the wall with big right side damage. That one truck's destroyed.
Yeah, that's it. That's huge. I don't even know if it's going to get off the racetrack or if he can get off the racetrack. Field comes around.
Caution.
There it is.
Oh, man. Look out. Not over. Wow. Kind of saw that coming, though. We talk about it. When you slide once, you're not going to have rear grip for probably a double-digit amount of laps. And Beckner tried to go into the next corner with the same grip, and it just did not stick. And that is huge because Knoll was having such a great run.
Yeah, that's our lap 50 mark here. Just almost a third of the way through.
It's great for the drivers who are still in the top 10, like Lakatos and Bappy, because more playoff drivers start flopping, the more safe you probably would feel for Michigan, whether you win tonight or not. See if Lakatos pits here. No, he's not gonna. I think Beckner's going to, because he has damage to repair. He will not be destroyed like the one is, but he's definitely got some right rear issues. Lakatos is 3rd, Nichols is 5th. This is, like you said, this is definitely working out for Casey and Anasogak. The restarts look to be where they're at their worst, but once they get the tires up and going, they can hold their ground.
Yeah, curious now with these split strategies later in this race, how this is going to kind of accordion down, right? Because if Casey stays out here later, how much more of those tires fall off? Will that strategy work later in this race if you stay out at lap 120 if the field pits?
Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point, if you keep getting these like under 10 lap runs, 10 to 20 lap runs, there's not much you can do as far as pitting that's going to benefit you. I think the 50 and the 88 have already proven if you can just control your truck, you can stay at the front because it's just that hard to pass. So until you get a run of like 30, 40 laps or somewhere up there, I see no reason for anyone up there to pit at all. Even know Patrick Moose is still back there. I think he did get damage in the big one, but I didn't even see that he was in it, but he's also been struggling back there in that 38 truck. Now Beckner's going to be back there. We'll see if it's that serious of damage, but Seth Knoll definitely done for the night, at least at this point.
So that would be our second playoff driver out of this race. And one driver who was on the cut line and needed a good finish will probably get a must win. And this one is a driver who was actually had a pretty big gap to the cut line.
So 1 to green here. We're going to restart lap 56. And Babby continues to lead. He's just clicking off laps right now. 50 laps he's led of the 55 that we've completed. And with the shifts and shuffles, we'll see who's got pace for the second third of this race. Green flag back in the air, and we're underway again from Bristol.
Babby's just not going to be beatable once he gets that launch off the outside. Pacey Wygen's up to the second, so this is going to work well for him. He got through that pretty well. So Hall's up to third. Winner last season at Bristol, making his way up to the front, followed by Jake Nichols.
Waterworth, we saw him sliding around earlier. P9 at the moment, trying to close back up on Jeremy Miller.
Caution. Somewhere. Big crash. I think Jeremy Brown was in that, and Cameron Hearn. Here's Jeremy Brown, 3 wide with Wineland, and oh yeah, Wineland just turns him, and Schaefer's in another one. And, oh, Beckner got killed.
That Beckner, or was that Weishart?
I think that was Beckner who got hit in the rear, big time.
Working 6th yellow here.
I think we're already above. Yeah, well, no, we're probably not above what we had last night, but we're inching much quicker than we were last night. So I don't think Beckner actually got much damage out of that, but David Weishart probably has even more damage. The left front's literally pointing, or was pointing towards the inside wall, so he is another playoff driver who's just struggling big time with damage.
Yeah, they got to clean this up a little bit. Got to get some laps in. This is not supposed to be a very long race. 6 yellows in the first third does not bode well here, but we'll see if they can get it sorted.
But I'd be loving life right now if I was Case Lakatos, though. Now at this point, he's only one of 4 playoff drivers in the top 10. And 4 of them are in the top 5. All 4 of them are in the top 5. So this is working out really well for him. I mean, unofficially, he's above the cut line double digits, which I think he would have absolutely loved that if he knew that waking up today. Meanwhile, in the case of Seth Knoll, he is projected tied on the cut line with Daniel Day, and Daniel Day is still out there and can gain some spots. It's like Cameron Hearn has retired from the race as well, so Hearn, Slaughter, Peachin, Ware, Cortez, and Seth Knoll as well. I think Knoll's probably going to try to get back out there. He is in his truck. What he does with his truck, we'll find out.
Yeah, we should get the 1 to green here shortly. We'll double up. And now Wygent. I'm really impressed with the 0-0 tonight, the decisions he's made to put himself, we're going to get 2 to go, with the decisions that he's made to put himself in this position. John Hall also creeping up into the mixture. And Lakatos, that tire strategy has worked out well.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, just the tires are able to equalize, and he's been able to keep that track position. He's actually got damage to both fenders, but it's just had enough pace to be able to just run that outside. It's what we kind of expected, though. It's going to be hard to make those passes with the pace of this track and all the grip it has. So if your tires are not like 100 laps older or 50 laps older, somewhere in that 50 to 100 range, it's going to be a tough pass. And Lakatos and Anna Sogak have proved that. And Lakatos is the last one on this strategy because Anna Sogak and Seidfaden have both recently pit. So he's still doing a good job right now.
Doubled up for the restart. Nichols and Hall in that second row. Jake Nichols has been kind of quietly lingering in that second row.
Beckner's still going to try to recover from that 19th position.
Ooh, I heard some motor explode.
Probably someone on pit road, if I had to guess.
Yeah, pace car's off. Let's try this again. Lap 64. Matthew Batby back underway here. Wygen and Nichols side by side into turn 1. Nichols clears.
Yeah, they got that second position. That Wygen's really going to struggle to keep this track position on the bottom. I think John Hall is easily going to get that spot, but he has a gap up ahead of Lakatos, who doesn't have the tire advantage that the Double Zero has, so he'll have a nice spot in line. Good run for him so far.
Reese Schaefer in that 07. We talked about the scenario he's in. Playoff competitor, but has gotten tangled up a couple of times tonight. Needs to move forward, and he's got plenty of positions to do.
Still a relatively clean truck as well, as Waterworth has the damaged rear bumper, which an already loose setup, it's going to be horrible for someone with a damaged rear bumper. He's looking for that 13th position. Schaefer that's someone at the bottom. I think it's Miller.
It is Miller.
He's going to come up in front of the track, and he saved it again. There's going to be another big stack up. They're almost 4 wide. Somehow, almost through it. Gosh. Got no room for anything, and now we got a battle for the lead. This is the first real challenge Batby's faced.
Yeah, Batby and Nichols nose to tail here. I like the speed that the 73 has on this longer run now that they've got some time to longer run. It's only been a couple of laps, so we haven't had that much green running. Gonna go to the high side here. Batby can't do much about it.
Yeah, there's really not much he can do. I mean, Batby can just run the bottom. If he runs it hard enough, there's no way Jake Nichols is going to be able to do anything with him. But Nichols is just going to keep taking whatever lane Matthew Batby gives him and hope that it works out. He almost slammed the wall out of turn number 2 that time, though. So you could just see the struggle when just picking the wrong lane. How important that is to pick the correct lane.
Poseidon Fiden and Reese Schaefer. That was tight between those two. There was a little bit of contact there, and the 07 drops to the bottom.
07 really struggled there. Seidenfaden does have a little bit fresher tires, so we'll see how he can climb through the field after he already slid a little bit earlier. So he's using those better tires to his advantage, but we'll see if it ends up hurting him at the end of a run with how loose he got a little bit ago.
Well, Batby's chased Nichols up the track, took his line away. Now what?
Just hold on for dear life. There's not much else you can do at this point. This is pretty much all he has. At this point, Jake Nichols just has to run different lines and hope for the best. But Batby can just do really whatever he wants, and he's going to have much better tires at the end of the long run, I would think, because of it, because he has clean air and he can run the bottom like he wants to, while Jake Nichols is having to pretty much run different lines, stress the tires out because of how many different lines he's running. It just makes it really, really tough on everyone behind the race leader at a race like this.
Justin Anasogak in the 88. We talked about him a little earlier tonight. Started 15th place, and through all the trials and tribulations of the evening is now creeping up towards the top 5. P7 now alongside Lucas Strayer in the 41. You see the big shot that the 41 took on the nose. Strayer's a little high up the hill. A big wiggle there, and he'll lose that spot.
And once again, just like Seidenfaden, Anasogak was on that different strategy. He's on fresher tires, and he's driven this thing all the way back up to 7th already. In case Lakatos, once again, he's been able to maintain that 5th position.
And Jake Nichols has not really made much inroads after that initial assault on the back of the 89. Now that we've got a couple laps going here, we could see much more, and now we'll see how the pace transitions over time. But he's a little slower, that time by 1/10 and a half.
I can't tell. Maybe at this point he's trying to back off and save his tires even better, or he just doesn't have the tires to do anything at this point. Is wondering. Actually, you didn't even know. I don't know if maybe it was David Weishart. I don't think he blew up because he's only 16 down, but it was probably just someone else. But yeah, I think at this point he's kind of running out of options, even though there's 100 laps to go. It's kind of crazy to think you're running out of options with 100 laps to go, but it goes by quick, and it's not going to get easier to pass by any means. So if you can't figure out something now, you might just have to wait, save the tires, and try to do something later in the run, if you get later in the run even.
Got John Hall closing in as well. He's starting to apply some pressure. maybe not the most pressure. He seems like he's comfortable kind of riding in P3 right now, but as Nichols gets further and further away from Batby, drifting into the crosshairs of the 03 Ford F-150.
Meanwhile, Seth Knoll has gotten back on track. I don't know when he got back on track, but he is slated not too far ahead of Travis Beckner. I don't know how much faster the one is because he'll have fresher tires, but that thing is totaled. But got to get any points he can. He is not going to pass anyone at this point. Although saying that, he did just pass Cameron Hearn, and if the attrition rate picks up, at least gives him something to race for.
Little scrap back here between Seidenfeld and Rafe Slate, Jeremy Miller. That's for 14th.
Miller, I don't know if he has the tires back under him or not, but he's at least trying to get back through the field a little bit.
Trouble for Strayer. He's around on the front straightaway, and the caution is out.
That was from 11th position. It just seems like once we get longer in the run, the tires start fading even worse, and it's hard for a lot of drivers to hang on to it at that point, as he got really high up, maybe out of the groove. So
yeah, it goes for a kind of a flat lateral slide, and ends up around. So now will we see drivers hit pit lane again? That's curious now. We've got a number of laps, 52 laps since our last pit stop for the leaders.
yeah, I think if Batby comes, I would not be surprised if majority just kind of do the opposite. But it really just, I think Licata's definitely has to pit. He was holding his own, but you can't do this twice. If you get hosed on even older tires, it will not work. As I think David Weishart got the lucky dog, 16 down, and everyone, just about everyone will come down. Anna Sogak, who pit very recently, will stay out, and that will deny Seth Knoll a wave around. But there should be 4 tires for everyone, and 90 laps to go on the restart, but it very well could be everyone's final stop, depending on how the yellows fall. With Anna Sogak staying out, it could be very, very important who comes out first out of these guys and who comes out second out of these guys, because it's a row's difference.
Yeah, and I think also what lane you come out in as well. I mean, we've seen the outside kind of be the place to be at times, but the inside lane is restarted pretty well when you can get that nice launch and everyone's not yet up to speed. So that'll kind of depend as well. I think 4 tires, as you alluded earlier, no one's going to try 2. I think staying out is an option. We've seen a couple drivers do that, and Sogak and Slate are going to give this a go. They've only got 28 and 26 laps on their tires, respectively.
So this will make things even more interesting, because now you have both the drivers who are top 2 on row number 2, and Jake Nichols is going to have the top side because he came out second. So unless Bappy can force the issue, 3 wide bottom or something, I think advantage goes to the 73 here on this restart. But Rafe Slate does have damage, even with those fresher tires, so maybe that plays into Bappy's favor. Playoffs it makes a difference if Bappy, obviously Bappy, if he wins, he's in, but even with him running top 5, he's got a pretty decent gap to the cut line, so I wouldn't recommend him do anything crazy to get the lead back, because the top 5, top 10 is great for his playoff run. You don't want to throw it away trying something overly aggressive.
Yeah, well, we're going to be halfway at the stripe this time through. And we'll see what Bappy has for these front 2. Remember, he took the leaders last time 3 wide on the exit of turn 2. He wasn't waiting around for anything.
No, but that was around the top. That's a big difference in doing it around the top with drivers on way older tires compared to trying it on the bottom, where you're going to get pinched down. Those drivers, if they get loose, they're going to come down the track, probably side slap you, kind of ruin the right side of your truck. So you got to be very, very careful on how you play this if you're the 89, as well as Licata's, or not as well as Lacoste, as well as Nichols. If you can make that 3 wide move, get track position over the 89, that could make the difference in this race.
So lights are out on the pace car. We're going to get restarted here, lap number 92 of 180. Again, if we were to somehow go green to the end, 22 minutes of racing is all it will be. And Sogak's your leader. He restarts on the outside of the green and black 88, and we're back underway from Bristol.
There we go, 3 wide to the bottom. Bappy's trying to get the jump on Nichols, but they're both going to get by Slate at the same time. And now it's all about who gets Anna Sogak first and which lane the 88 gives up. It's going to give him the top, and Nichols is going to have it.
Yeah, not even going to be a fight there. The 73 will clear him. Batby, I think, is going to follow suit on the outside. They're 3 wide with Slade on the top. Don't love this. Got through it, though.
And once again, it just seems like when you stay out, it is better once the run gets longer, but the tires on the restarts, you just don't have the grip until 2-3 laps later.
There's the 30. Jeremy Miller had an interesting evening, been a couple of accidents here and there, but now poking his way back forward. He's almost back to where he started, all things considered. That's not going so bad.
And look who's up into the 4th. Travis Beckner already came all the way back into the top 4, basically where he was running. So a pretty quick climb, all things considering, to get already back into the top 5.
Oh boy, Pacey Wygen to the bottom of Anna Sogak. The 2 drivers that started on the front row are now kind of getting bottlenecked against an angry field behind them that wants to go places.
And they got no places to go, which is obviously the tough part of that. So it's the patience is going to run thin already because 80 laps can go by in a big hurry. So you don't have time to wait. Lakatos is getting the bumper from Seidenfath, but they keep it straight. This is the mess waiting to happen. Lakatos to go to the inside. Wygen protects the top, gets by the 88. And you still have over half the playoff drivers behind all this somewhere. In Lakatos' case, he's in this mess.
Ooh, Devin Johnson in the wall, front straightaway. That's a big hit. That will break the steering, I'm sure. He'll keep it down on the inside, will stay green, but just a little slip on his own. It's all it takes, and it's over in an instant.
Could be over an instant.
Oh boy, more trouble. This time it's Seidenfaden again.
Looked like he might have, him and Miller had contact in some way. Seidenfaden had climbed back up after a spin. Now he's got a lot more damage to boot, and he just lost it again.
That's the second time he's just lost control tonight.
So that I don't think it'll end his night, but it'll be even tougher to get back up through the field. And with the way the rec score system is this season, it's probably already 4 points of the 45, and 1 more. That's all he needs for suspension. So got to at least think about if you can run the rest of this race without causing 1 more yellow. Otherwise, you're not racing next week in Michigan.
Yeah, I think what worry about if you keep collecting incident points, especially for self-involved incidents. Connor, at what point do you just cut your losses and say, I don't have this figured out? You know, I'm just going to end up sitting myself out of a race because one night went badly. So I think that's a strong consideration.
It's tough because it's a really tough track tonight with the way the track's all gripped up. You can't afford to lift, and there's no rear grip. So I think, like you said, at some point you just gotta wonder. You gotta ask yourself, can I get through this race without doing this again? And you have to really take into consideration that you might not be able to keep the truck straight, guaranteed, for the rest of this race. And if you want to race next week, you probably need to make a decision. If you don't care about Michigan, well then, I guess by all means. But we'll see. It's just been a tough night. Everyone has tough nights.
Down under 80 laps to go here now. Nichols took the lead from Batby. Got through the traffic a little better on that start. And you mentioned Travis Beckner carving his way back through. Here he is. Quite the night. The high is second, as low as 23rd, and everywhere in between. The damage is mostly repaired on this truck, and he's looking racy.
Yeah, as the playoff cut line stands, he's 22 to the good, so it's a recovery that was very necessary for him. Nichols leading, it doesn't matter, he was the leader of the points anyway, so a win by him would really not change much. John Hall's looking good right now, Batby's 15 good, Schaefer Lakatos 8 to the good, Days 3 to the good, Edward Shearer currently 1 point above Seth Knoll, who still sits 30 or 30-something laps down. Moose Weishart below the cut line, Danny Ware close to being in a must-win at this point. So at this point, I'm sure Matthew Batby's probably kicking himself for not being able to maybe see that the 73 was going to beat him off pit lane, or just not making that 3-wide move to the bottom in time, because now he's effectively lost control of the race.
Doubled
bad
up for the
slip up from
restart. Nichols goes to the high side here, and Bappy on the bottom. And it's going to split the Hendry County teammates.
And yeah, you're going to have John Hall boxed in a little bit here, and maybe Anasogak gets the jump.
And restart, lap 106, Nichols, Batby. Batby does not go. Beckner does, though, and he's going to pull up alongside his teammate and maybe get the ride the rim out of turn 2, and he does.
This is really the first time Bappy's going to have to face any adversity. Now he's not going to be in a line he wants to be in. Now he's going to be back to row number 2 for the first time on even tires, and it's going to be tough to recover from. We've seen how tough it is to get that lead away or even make a move for the lead, so back to third is going to make it even more tough.
Eric Wineland trying to recover some of his night here, up to 12th place. A lot of busy track ahead.
It is always rush hour traffic at this half mile, no matter what part of the race it is. You always got drivers every lane sliding.
There goes Hallman.
Well, you don't want to see people sliding on the highway, but, you know, every now and then it happens. Strayer just got into the back of, I think, Wineland, but they kept it straight. They're actually rubbing doors out of turn number 2, but they at least kept it straight for the time being as Garrett Grant gets in line. Patrick Moose still trying to recover with damage, and Edward Shearer also just trying to get to the front. I don't know how much damage he has, but he really struggled last night. He needs a good run.
Yeah, he's one of the drivers in the yellow. Needs to outperform some other fellow playoff competitors to move himself into the next round. 17th is not going to do it. You need more than that. Even with the tough nights that some of the playoff competitors have had, I really think that you need to be top 10 in both rounds to move forward.
Yeah, perfect example, Case Lakatos. I mean, he is doing everything he needs to do right now, running in the top 10, putting himself in a good point situation at this point. So huge run so far, but it's not over until lap 180 or past lap 180. So he's just got to keep a pretty wheel at this point, but he's had a great climb from starting 24th.
A little 3 wide back here. Strayer on the top. Those Patrick Moose on the bottom. He wanted a piece of it. Wineland almost shut the door.
He did, but Strayer jammed his foot in there and just barely kept it open. He's going to do the same thing this time without contact out of turn number 4. And just if you don't get up, you're not going to get that position back. Jeremy Brown had a slide and saved it, but if you don't get up to the top line, you're going to get freight train. We see it all the time here. Strayer goes by. Patrick Moose is going to try to stick the left front above him, and he's going to get there, and that's all it takes, and you're back 2 positions from where you were.
There's Edward Shearer Jr. still going backwards, now 19th place, as some others work their way around Reese Schaefer in particular.
Oh, up the front, I thought I saw Beckner get the second. He's now back to 4th. Bappy back to 2nd. John Hall back to 3rd. Pacey Wygen still a consistent top 5 run so far, ahead of Lakatos by half a second.
Pacey Wygen working over Beckner for 4th place now. I'm surprised that Travis seems like he's going the wrong direction at this stage.
I don't know what damage he has and if it's hurting him big time or not, but for sure seems like he just doesn't have the pace that he might have had earlier because he was competing for a top 3 earlier. Now it doesn't seem like he has what the top 3 have at this point.
Garrett Grant, Daniel Day. This is for 15th place. Day on the high side, Grant on the bottom. Ooh, they gotta get tangled up and crash. Balliet and Moose.
And that's another incident for another playoff driver. He's got big front end damage that time on the 38.
I don't think the 38 was directly involved in it. It was Senesac tagging 7, and then Patrick kind of drove into it.
Kind of ran out of room, thought it would stay in the middle of the track, and then Balliet kind of got pushed down by the 30.
What do you think?
On from there.
Pit stops now?
I don't think I would.
I don't think I would either. 31 laps on this set. I'm keeping these things to the end.
And you got 60 to go, and that's going to fly by in a hurry, whether there's a bunch of yellows or not. So if you pit here, you're done, 100%. But I don't think you do. But if Nichols comes down, he might bring a lot. He could still go. He's gonna bring everyone down. I'm surprised by that. Rafe Slate's gonna stay out again.
It's going to deny Wise. It's going to deny Noel another wave.
It's almost the exact same scenario as before. I don't really get that because he didn't work very well the last time. And he has a few less laps on his tires, but nothing significant.
Yeah, we'll just see. It's something they'll put in the driver's chat. He's not happy about Rafe Slate taking his wave around away. Not that it matters much. 28 laps down. David Weishart, through attrition, has moved up to 22nd, and Seth Noel will probably soon move up to 23rd, so some extra points for those two. This is probably the last opportunity for people to try 2 tires. I would still think it's a bad idea, but you never know. Looks like Bryce Senesac might have missed his stall. And out of pit lane, John Hall almost got there. Hall's going to get second, though, over Bappy.
He does.
Or I guess probably
Bappy,
third.
Yeah, third out of the pits. Fourth, well, technically fourth because Senesac took fuel only, or only right sides. I didn't get a look at that, but
in the last yellow, I would think he comes down, but never know. The truck actually isn't. Actually, it makes sense. He wasn't damaged in that instant. He just kind of turned the 7 around. His belly had stayed out. I think he's having to get the wave, but this might just be a strategy play by the 09 and the 8. And Rafe Slate's been off sequence pretty much this entire second half of the race, so this makes sense.
So under 60 laps to go, and I think the one that really is curious to me is Jeremy Brown. We haven't really talked about him a lot tonight. Started 22nd. He's run up in the mix here and there, but P2 for this restart on 20-lap old tires, which is about the same strategy that we saw with Rafe Slate, but he spent a lot of time on pit lane. 30 seconds in the box fixing crash damage last time out. You see the damage to the rear of that truck. He's been through the wars tonight, I think.
Rafe Slate picks the top line, so it puts Brown on the bottom. Advantage Jake Nichols once again, and disadvantage Matthew Bappy, and maybe John Hall will actually disadvantage John Hall, and Bappy might get that spot back from the 03. But if one person doesn't launch on that front row or in third with Senesac, it will cause all sorts of trouble.
So Rafe Slate going to try to nose ahead here and get a better jump than he did last time. Jake Nichols is immediately going to be looking to the high side to take this lead away. Closing in on the tail end of this race, Rafe Slate fires off, and we're back underway from Bristol.
Exactly what Nichols needed. Clean restart, already leading.
And John Hall did not need this. Middle 3 wide. Stuck between a rock and a hard place here.
Yeah, this is going to ruin his run, at least for the time being. Wygen gets by. Beckner gets by. Miller now working to his outside. Lakatos has lined up for a look. Same thing as Seth Noel on the other restart earlier in the race, where he got trapped on the bottom and it cost him 5 positions. It's so hard to get them back.
Little wiggles there in the background. Strayer in the 41. Got it corrected. Travis Beckner trying to carve his way through all this. And John Hall dropping like a rock, not the direction he wanted to go. Nichols has the lead and is going to try to dispatch Matthew Bappy pretty quickly. Both of these trucks have been up front all night long.
And Nichols and Bappy were fine with that restart because they were on the outside, but not only did John Hall go backwards, so did Travis Beckner. Wygen got by himself, and he's still not by Senesac and Jeremy Brown, just trying to make that bottom work, but just too difficult to make it work in just a lap or a corner for at least these guys. Once again, Nichols made it look easy, but once the tires get warmed up, they can launch with the best of them.
Miller through the middle.
3.
Really dicey.
Loose.
And the 28
Wow.
splits it, and there goes the 30. And caution.
Oh, they're still crashing. Another incident up ahead. One of the Hendry County trucks. I think that was Daniel Day. But I think he got away with it.
Yeah, this is a pretty brave move here by Miller.
That was a great move by Beckner up ahead. I was going to note that, but yeah, he slides up into the 09 a little bit. Lakatos gets into him. Lakatos might have pretty big damage himself. He was having such a great run. I think Daniel Day got away with minimal damage, but I don't know what the right side of that 50 looks.
So 50 laps to go now. And make sure you add some life to the party this summer with Elite Entertainment. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, and more. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact information. And check out the High Banks podcast, just two blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter and the new episode, I think it's 207, with Jacob Bell, available on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. High Banks podcast. All right, who did I pick to win this race? The 28, right?
I thought so.
And you had the 1, but that didn't go so well.
No, it didn't.
Win some, you lose some.
Every now and then. I'm sure I'll get blamed by Seth. It was my fault because I picked him. It's always how that works. Just looking at the points, at least updated at this point. Sentinel got those 2 extra points because of some other retirement, so he's actually 2 to the good right now. Lakatos fell back to 9th. Now he's only 6 to the good. Shear, Weishart, Moose, Ware are still the drivers below the cut line now. And John Hall, Travis Beckner looking pretty safe.
All right, so on the left-hand side of the screen, the stint lengths of everyone here. That's how many laps they've been out on this set of tires and fuel. Kind of a mixed bag, primarily from a recent yellow flag, but there's a few in there. Rafe Slate and Jeremy Brown on slightly different strategies, and then Patrick Moose is just coming topped off. Everyone's kind of on the same page, at least those that we think are going to do kind of the primary strategy.
I still feel like no matter what type of run we get, whether it's like 20, 30 laps or even more, or like 5-lap stints, I think you're done pitting. I just don't see that benefiting anyone, because if you pit with like 30 to go, you're going to get a bunch of people staying out. We saw how important track position's been. So I think if you pit after you already did on lap 120, you are a fool, but you never know.
Seven different lead changes so far. Only 6 unique leaders. Been primarily the 73 and the 89 that have led most of the laps tonight in our race analysis. And there's our 1 to green. Lights are off, and Nichols will again aim for the high side here for this restart and battle off Batby. And I think for the time being, he won't have to worry about Travis Beckner because he's going to be crammed in behind Rafe Slate. I would expect to see 3 wide into 1 with that 28 car.
Yeah, advantage could go to Pacey Wygen here. Could find his way into the top 3 if he gets a good enough restart. But I agree. I think Beckner takes his 3 as soon as possible, but he's got to be careful with the 8. Weiland's almost back into the top 10. Actually is back in the top 10 after all he's been through tonight.
Pace car's off. Here we go. Jake Nichols on the top. Matthew Batby on the bottom. And 45 laps to go. Nichols gets a great launch. Pacey Wygen does not. And John Hall, who got trapped last run, is looking for P3 maybe.
Wygen's still going to get to the outside of Batby, though, so that's going to let Jake Nichols kind of cruise and run the pace he wants. Beckner got under Rafe Slate, but surprising to me, he didn't take him 3 wide, but should get that position. Not quite clear, as here comes 09 with a run, but now Beckner does have that position, and Pacey Wygen has 2nd position, and he's chasing Jake Nichols all of a sudden.
Oh, look at the 07 to the bottom.
Big move there. He's trying to get any points possible, but we just have not seen that bottom line work for passing a lot tonight.
Pacey Wygen is keeping up with Nichols here. And now that he's cleared Batby, he's got a little bit of a responsibility here to hold back that 89. He's a non-playoff competitor. He's just going for a win.
Oh, crash! Reese Schaefer hard into the outside wall. Daniel Day, big damage. Patrick Moose is involved. Another trio of playoff drivers, big damage. Caution out. Oh, man. If the drama wasn't enough.
And this track's up, not clear.
Even Shear got some damage, and Sogak got turned around. Once again, more playoff drivers just not able to keep it clean, and this is Schaefer. And there's not this.
No, he's not clean.
I don't think he even knew it was 3 wide. I think the issue was Daniel Day stuck at 3 wide top, and Wineland had to panic and give him room. And I guarantee I don't think Reese even knew they were 3.
right there. Day gets a right rear. In the iRacing spotter, the way they are, Schaefer might not have even gotten a 3-wide call there.
Yeah, that's going to take him out a pretty big way. Still hanging to 11th here, but...
Yeah, Daniel Day, actually, his car doesn't even... This truck doesn't even look that bad somehow. But definitely got away with one if he doesn't have big damage. But Schaefer is definitely going to have to pit. He's going to lose track position here. But the more of those playoff drivers that add to the attrition rate, the better it is for Weishart and Danny Ware and Seth Knoll, because at least brings some guys back to them.
Under 40 laps to go now. Again, at this point, I don't think there's any sense in coming to pit lane for pretty much anything. I think you need to keep your track position and hold on to it. Travis Beckner now has cleared slate, so he'll restart behind Batby, which is a lot better now because you're lined up with your teammate, so I consider that a victory of some kind anyway.
See if it ends up working for him. Definitely at least some sort of victory, but he's looking for an actual victory. He's at least trying to win 2 seasons in a row at Bristol. He won the pro race here last season over that 3-wide finish with Scioli and Shane Therian, but definitely, we already noted how up and down his day's been. But the yo-yo's still going, so it's not over yet.
So for Jake Nichols, he could, I mean, I'm not sure that he needed to, but if he wins this race, he punches his ticket through. Batby would love to do that as well. And for Wygant, I mean, you're so close. You don't want to meddle in the playoff system, but you know that Jake Nichols is in a pretty good position. How aggressive do you get on this restart?
I mean, you gotta at least try to get up, assuming Nichols takes the bottom. But actually, I think it would make sense if he took the top here because it boxes Batby in under Wygant. But he just got to time it. There's no other way he's going to be able to get this race victory unless he times a restart right and can hang on the 73 and maybe rough him up a little bit. But it's all that question about whether he does want to rough the 73 up or not. I don't think he wants to, although Nichols did take the bottom there, which is interesting. So this really puts the emphasis on timing this restart even more. If you could just hang on Nichols' right rear through 1 and 2 by timing this restart, he can definitely have a shot at this. But Nichols has been very good launching on restarts tonight.
Lights are out. Nichols goes to the bottom, which I think is peculiar. We'll see what this decision entails here for the next 35 laps now. Here we go. Green flag back in the air at Bristol.
Wygant didn't really go, but he got enough of a good restart, but he did not roll 1 and 2 well at all. He almost hit the 89 of Batby there, as it's going to be a tough pass on the bottom, but Batby's going to make it work and gets back to second. Crossover by the 00 though, as they're 3 wide in the background for about 10th.
Patrick Moose right in the middle of all this. In that 38, he's got the yellow on the door, or at least on the ticker. Needs to have a good night. He's been caught up in too many things, and this included. Crash again. And
Moose
another.
in the Cottis. And Daniel Day even more damage. Every wreck tonight seemed to have at least 2 or 3 playoff drivers, and Day just lost it. Then Moose piles in, nowhere for the 50 to go. And Daniel Day gets even more damage there. And it's just, once again, on these restarts, these drivers, they just kind of overstep their boundaries as far as how much rear grip they have. But also what was kind of funny there, at some point during that restart, the 61 lost his rear bumper. And I wonder if that contributed to how loose that thing got, because at least on my end, he lost the rear bumper, and you're going to have we already talked about having no rear grip. Well, you'll literally have no rear grip if you don't have that rear bumper cover, and might have played a factor as to why he slapped the wall at it too. And there's nowhere for Balliet to go.
So it'll be 30 laps, a little bit less by the time we get back restarted here. Again, the top 10 trucks are with the exception of Rafe Slater, all in the same strategy. Now Rafe's strategy's not looking half bad, is it? Now that he's gotten a couple heat cycles on it with everybody else.
Kind of what he needed to make this work is just no green flag running at all. And so far, it is paying dividends for him. It's like everyone's 16th on back came down, but it's only about 6-7 drivers on the lead lap back there. Wonder what Nichols does here, because he picked the bottom, which I thought he picked the top to box Batby in, but now you got Batby in second, so it really doesn't matter. But now you have John Hall in fourth, Vector fifth. I don't even know if lane change matters for the 73 right now. You just get one good launch and you're usually gone. But we saw in the initial start, Batby did not jump before the race leader, and he was able to get the lead away from the pole sitter. So you got to keep that in the back of your mind if you're the 73.
So with the field whittled down from 30 down to about 23 runners, majority of the playoff competitors are in the top 25. That doesn't tell you a whole lot, though, does it, in a 35-car field? We've only got 5 of the 12 in the top 10 at the moment.
Catcher Moose got big damage in that. He's now in 16th. I believe Daniel Day is about 20th now at this point. He was having a pretty decent recovery after being in an earlier incident. Now that's kind of going to go the wayside. And now all of a sudden you got Schaefer and Daniel Day back there with Weishart and Knoll, who are absolutely loving the way the attrition's been looking.
And for the next time, we'll have the pace car peel off here. Nichols, Batby, Wygant, Hall, Beckner. The top 5 has looked pretty similar most of the night in slightly different orders and organizations.
How many different orders can we get?
Let's find out. Green flag back in the air at Bristol. Nichols fires off again.
Stacked up in the back. Wygant up the track. He's going to spin out of second place into the inside wall.
And caution out again immediately. I don't even really need to see a replay on that. And they're crashing again. Under yellow.
Oh, goodness. Hennesack and Brown. I heard Weiland yelling about something, so I don't know what happened there. I think it was Garrett Grand who got spun by Rafe Slate. That caused the second one. Yeah, I don't know what that was about. And then Jeremy Brown, Shear into Brown into Senesac. Just a Bristol stack up. That happens.
Yeah, back under yellow again, and we'll pace around again. And this has been a
recollect our thoughts.
Yeah, it's just been a mess tonight.
Catch our bearings.
Cup race wasn't so bad, but I reminded myself why I can't stand Bristol.
I was reminded of that when I was running 15th position with a right front at 20%. I think the issue tonight is I think part of it is the night setting. Not that these drivers shouldn't be able to run at night. They should be able to make it work. But you get the track as cool as it is and these trucks as on edge as it is. You get no rear grip. You're flying through the corners, so everyone's on the throttle out of the corner with no rear grip. That's going to spell trouble for multiple incidents, as it's probably the 12th or 13th caution. I believe the record was 16. I don't remember it. I don't think we broke it this season, but definitely inching up there as we are going to restart with around 20 to go. Garrett Grant actually got away with that with minimal damage, though. Currently suspended for the Cup race next week. That streak might come to an end.
I'm just thinking about getting to eat dinner after this. That's what I'm thinking about. Been 4 hours since I got home.
I'm thinking about something. Jake was just thinking about how many more laps do I need to pace to get to this victory, because at this point, for him, it should be, keyword should be simple, but it usually never is. Bappy just times one restart correctly. He could be under pressure big time. Now you got Beckner back in fourth as well. So now you got all four of these drivers who've been top five pretty much all night restarting on top of each other.
Yeah, I think I'm curious to see what Casey Lakatos can pull out of this, because he's had a really good night. He's been involved in a couple of things, but he's managed to bounce back from it. Even Edward Sherrod Jr., we talked about him earlier, struggling with all the pace. Was running 19th on speed, but he's just, for the most part, kept his truck clean. You don't see really a scratch on it, do you? And that's gonna work out in his favor, I think, tonight. I mean, the baseline expectation is just get the truck around the track, right? That's been a challenge for a lot.
Just make at least 180.
Right.
Yes, it's going to be interesting. And it's going to get another restart. Nichols just needs another good jump. He'll take the top. Could be advantage Beckner. And if Beckner could get the second, that could really make things interesting. As a current cut line, Noel and Day are tied. Noel would have the tiebreaker at this point, but that could all change. Tiebreakers don't matter until Michigan either.
All right, we're going to have just over 20 laps to go. 21 to be exact. Jake Nichols, Matthew Batby, Travis Beckner, John Hall. And we're back underway with laps clicking down.
Also noted Eric Wineland, he's back into the top five. And this has not been the restart Matthew Batby needed.
Oh, we'll stack up here.
Oh, Grant Miller had contact. It's brewing. It just hasn't been fully cooked yet back there. Oh, somewhat sideways, it's Moose. Waterworth up the track. Stack up, Batby.
Oh my God.
Batby got into the wall a little bit.
Just
Then there's
chaos.
another crash. Caution's out. Daniel Day even more damage. Waterworth and Strayer.
Oh, this race feels like it's never going to end, dude. This was only supposed to be a 45-minute long race, and we just got people just...
Big crash again. I don't know where it started, but I know Waterworth was in it. Poking three wide, Moose gets loose, Waterworth has to chase up the track. Now we're three wide, and I think Wyja just gave the two a little bit too much room. Oh, Daniel Day got punted in the right rear by Waterworth coming down the track, and that 61 has seen better days. We're talking about if Travis got the second, some things could happen. Well, now Travis Beckner has that opportunity to restart in second. He'll probably be on the bottom, but it does make a difference. And this is probably the furthest back Matthew Batby's been all race. He's gone back to sixth on that, as Weiser gets another free pass. And Rafe Slate's actually holding his own in fifth on this alternate strategy. Otis has worked his way up to seventh. Edward Shear has persevered through EOL and just snaking through multiple incidents to start running eighth, which would put him above the cut line as it runs, if it finished this way.
I mean, surviving this round might be one of the most challenging rounds because Bristol is Bristol, and then Michigan is sort of like Talladega or Daytona, right? So yeah. I think if Ed Sherrod Jr. can get through this round, it might actually do him a lot of benefits. I don't know that anyone thought that he was going to win the championship necessarily, but just to get through this first round is an accomplishment in itself, just showing that you can keep your nose clean.
I personally think if Shear and Lakatos get through, it's a little bit of an upset, especially if both of them point through. And the way things have worked right now, with still 15 laps to go, the way things have worked, there's a good chance that one of them could somehow kind of snake their way into Atlanta, possibly. And yeah, we didn't expect these two to be title contenders, but all you need is a chance. They make the round of 8, can get some good finishes at Iowa, and then I believe Kansas was the cutoff for the round of 8. They can just get one of those two, get their way through. You just never know what can happen at a track like Atlanta, which is kind of a equalizing mile and a half.
Travis Beckner's had quite the evening tonight. I think I picked him to win this because I think he's got what it takes at these short tracks. I think he's got the aggression at the right time. It gets him into trouble at places like Atlanta or Texas or whatever. But here tonight, I think he's in the right place at the right time. Does he have the speed to keep up with Jake Nichols? That's yet to be seen, I suppose.
Can he keep up with him on the bottom line? We just saw Bappy lose 4 positions restarting inside front row, but that's all he has to do. He just has to somehow time this correctly where he can at least stick to the inside of Nichols, and if they get a patch of green flag run to the end, he can at least maybe have a shot at him. As last time Nichols and Bappy had a green flag run, we saw Nichols just not able to keep up with the 89, and we saw Beckner battle with 73 pretty hard earlier. They had pretty even pace, but we'll find out if their pace is still even at this point.
Green flag.
Beckner might have jumped that. That was close. He was really close to jumping that. Miller's 3 wide on the inside. Again, Jake Nichols has still kept the lead through all that, but that was really tight.
Yeah, a little bit racy back here. Still Wineland looking for second on Beckner. He's got advantageous position to the outside, and Wineland goes to P2.
Crash in the back. That was at the very back of the field, and it's Gary Waterworth again.
Man, at some point, I don't even care if it's your fault. I mean, how many times?
Daniel Tate somehow got caught up.
Again, it's like this is like
incidents.
the 5th caution from one of 2 trucks. Like, I don't mean to pick on any one driver, but like if you can't drive the truck, don't race. You need to practice more.
Yeah, clearly there weren't too many drivers prepared for how sideways the setup would be, I suppose. But definitely at least it was a single car incident. We didn't have a truck flying into a fence at this point. In case anyone's wondering, no, we are not on a time limit at this point. We won't hit that. Some people are probably wishing it would. It's gonna be a lot of people with a lot of penalties next week.
Well, I think that's my point, is this penalty system doesn't work for nights like this because everybody gets a penalty, so nobody gets a penalty. You know what I mean? Like
at tracks like this, you need to have that system plus the former system where it's like where there was kind of like the 3-strike system. 1 strike EOL, 2 strikes pass through, 3 strikes you're out with incidents. I think maybe
we have people out for the season just from tonight alone. I mean, that's my point about it not working, is it's not dissuading 3 wide on restarts, and it's just not. Again, I remember why everyone avoids Bristol, and it's because of stuff like this. But combine a tricky truck with drivers that don't have their heads bolted on quite right, and you get this.
Combine it with an angry kitty, it makes for a stressful night.
Yeah, this is why I can't do these double stream nights, because I get home and I get 4.5 hours of this, and I just don't want to be here. You know what I mean?
I could think of probably 29 other people tonight who probably don't want to be here.
It's just the race is 45 minutes if you run it clean, right? We're an hour and 36 minutes into this broadcast, and we've still got time left.
Yeah. That makes things tough when you got a lot of people just not able to handle the truck. And I can't imagine how frustrating it is for the guys at the front who have handled their truck all night, like Jake Nichols, Beckner. Beckner had an incident, but like Nichols, I think Matthew Bappy's been clean, John Hall's been clean, Shearer hasn't put a tire out of place. The guys like that are who, driver-wise, you feel the worst for, because they've done nothing wrong. They've kept their truck clean, they've kept it on track, not having big slides, and they don't get the race because of people who, unfortunately, just can't keep it clean and slide too much. It's one of these things that just happen, especially at a track like this. We haven't seen this since Charlotte. That was even more baffling.
Yeah, they had a good period of cleaning things up. I just don't know if they ever really got to the root of the issue here.
Oh, what are we at? That yellow record's probably in danger at this point.
I don't remember. I think we had to get into the 20s. I don't think we'll get there.
I think for this, I might be wrong, but I thought the series was 16, but I could be wrong. And then we get another crack at Michigan. Actually, no, it's North Wilkesboro. We had 18 this year at North Wilkesboro. I am not wishing that on anyone. See if Weiland can do anything. It's kind of surprising Nichols picked the bottom this time, actually.
Well, he picked up at the bottom last time, too, and it was bewildering to me, but it didn't seem to matter. I think he's just trying to control the runs here. Green flag, 6 laps to go from Bristol.
Trying to keep Weiland in front of Bappy and Beckner makes sense.
There's Miller crash again, and again. Yeah.
Wygen, they're going to save it.
No.
He's going to come up the track, and the caution's back out. And that was Miller, it looked like 3 wide. He almost took out the 50 there. That would have been huge. See, Lakatos gets a tap, maybe hit down the track. Maybe Miller wasn't expecting him on his door. Actually made a good save, just nowhere for Wygen to go. And he just barely missed that tire bundle, or the barrels. Whether they're filled with sand, water, doesn't matter. They haven't been hit. But at this point, it would be entertaining to see water and sand fly out of those barrels on iRacing.
I always liked the Eutechnics games, how they had the movable safer barriers.
Yeah.
That was always kind of a cool touch.
They had the barrels moved too.
Yeah. iRacing's gotten rid of a lot of the collidable cones because they were getting stuck under cars, and people thought they were annoying, but they just put them in weird places, like on the racing line, and yeah. I wish they wouldn't have turned them off, but I mean, some of them are still on, but
can't hit the brake because if it's glitchy. They hadn't figured that out.
Yeah, I really miss the first version of the new damage model.
It was pretty fun. By the way, just a note, I'm pretty sure David Weishart at one point was like 18 laps down. He's now going to be 8 laps down. Just if he didn't go that many laps down, he could be back on the lead lap, gaining even more points. It's just he might be on to the record for amount of lucky dogs tonight as well. As this will be our first attempt at a green-white checkered.
Hopefully the last 2 laps at Bristol's only a mile, so I'm hoping we can do that. The thing that just gets so frustrating when you have a lot of yellows towards the end of a race like this is it doesn't even change the results. Like, this is basically the same top 5 we've had for 30 laps. So it's just, because the wrecking isn't happening up here. It's always from 15th on back, right? So it just doesn't...
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Really, you got the guys in the top 5, Nichols, Wineland, Nichols, Bappy, Hall. Those are the main 3 I'll point out that have not done anything wrong, and it's just, once again, frustrating for them. They can't do anything, and just kind of have to deal with it and just deal with what you can deal with, I guess, as we're at 16 cautions. We'll get 1 to green next time by, I suppose. Wineland's up to 2nd. He went front to back to front, just like the 28 did. And the attrition rate, another problem, we talked about this the last time too, is Seth Knowles parked in a stall backwards. I don't know whose stall he's in, whether it's Beckner's or someone else, but I think that's Seth Knowles saying he is done with tonight. I think he is in, I don't know, he might be in his own stall actually, but yeah, the attrition rate, another thing that we talked about at Charlotte too, the attrition rate has not picked up since about lap 100 because people are crashing and not going out of a race. You still have 22 drivers on the track. The only retirements, Cortez, Ware, Peachin, Slaughter, Hearn, Seidenfaden, Devin Johnson. And Knoll just recently called it a night.
All right, 1 to green, and we'll have 2 to go.
See if Bappy and Beckner can do anything. That one restart with Beckner in 2nd, he almost jumped it. But he was inside front row there, and that would have been disastrous. But I feel like the last few times with those 2 on the 2nd row, that 2nd line's kind of been trying to inch up towards the front line and kind of starting to race on themselves. We'll see what they do here.
Here we go, 2 to go. Green flag.
Oh, Wineland got such a good jump compared to last time, but he just can't hang on his right rear. They're already 3 wide. They sort it out for now. Wineland's going to maintain 2nd. Nichols is trying to rush towards the finish line here. And he's going to get there.
White flag. Last time around Bristol.
Oh,
crash at the back. Senesac kept it straight, though.
Doesn't matter. Jake Nichols locks himself into the next round of the playoffs, survives the chaos, and wins at Bristol. Wineland, Beckner, Batby, Hall, the rest of your top 5. Wow, we did it. Holy cow.
It's the first time in iRacing the fireworks have scared me. I forgot about those. But,
Can't see them here because
job.
there's no way to look at them, unfortunately, from down here. Here's a look at your results here, Connor. Wow, tough night. But Jake Nichols, all that for a Jake Nichols win, huh?
The meme lives on, but yes, it was all that for Jake Nichols' win. Second win of the season, first one since Montreal. Beckner recovers for third, Bappy fourth, John Hall fifth. A great points night for Edward Shearer and Patrick Moose recovering from their incidents. And a name I don't see there was Case Lacatus, who ran top 10 all night long. I do see Tyler Hallman in 10, so a good finish for him.
Yeah, Tyler Hallman managed to survive it. Casey Lacatus, 12th. I think he'll take that. Daniel Day, 13th place. Again, considering the trials and tribulations, not a bad night or result for him. Valiette, Miller, Wygant, Senesac. Wygant, it's a disappointing run for the 0-0, all things considered. And here's where things get really interesting. Not great results for a number of our playoff competitors.
Yeah, Reese Schaefer ran better than that. Obviously, Weishart didn't really get a chance, and Seth Knoll was the big one, running top 10, really running top 5. The incident with Beckner takes him out, and he will have work to do next week. And obviously, Danny Ware, literally the last thing he needed was a run like that, and he will almost certainly need the win next week. My calculations have Knoll out by 3, Lacatus out by 2, Moose is in by 2, but Jake Nichols is locked in, as a few others got very close to.
Chat with Travis Beckner, third place tonight in the Henry County Chevrolet Silverado. Travis, I had you picked to win P3 tonight, but just needed some more green flag running, I imagine, to get up there and be right at the front.
Yeah, I still had 3 minutes of damage there at the end. It tightened the truck up a lot, but sucks with how many cautions we had, and I mean overall when we had a few little long runs, it was a fun race still, but I'll take a P3 at the end of the night with it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like tonight the truck was a little tricky to handle, different lanes. How challenging were the restarts in particular to get grip underneath you to move forward?
I mean, you had a choice. You could start first, but there's a good chance you were going to wheel spin. I started in second all night long, so I felt better with keeping it in second, not spinning the tires and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, stuff happens.
Travis Beckner, third place tonight at Bristol.
Yep, before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Hendry County Motorsports Park, Elite Entertainment, everybody at Low Dollar Racing, and Solid Rock Performance, Nexus Esports, good team points night for us at Low Dollar Racing, and y'all taking the time out of your day to come broadcast this, and of course got to thank my grandparents, my dad, and my mom, and everybody that came out to watch the race tonight. So.
Travis Beckner, P3. Travis, thanks.
Thank you.
And Eric Wineland steals the second place tonight. Wasn't without its issues, Eric, but P2 after starting in fourth. Good qualifying. Kind of a chaotic race. Back to second. Take us through it.
It was the roller coaster of a night, if you could have a roller coaster of a night, Kyle. We qualified really well, like you said. I was really happy and then went straight backward on the start. Trying to take care of my right rear because we were wearing a lot on the right rear tonight, and in going backward, just got stuck in a 3-wide situation. It was a little tight, and ended up with some contact and causing some issues throughout the race. So my apologies out there. And then late, I got loose, checked Bappy up, and I know that sent a chain reaction backward. But nonetheless, strategy our way back, fortune, whatever you want to call it. Luck was on our side tonight. We got ourselves back up to the top 10, and then it was just chipping away at it from there, getting good restarts. And then I appreciate all the 609 Motorsport guys letting me work with them in the channel all night, all season for that matter. I only worked off one countdown with Jake. The rest of them, I was doing my best on audio to try to restart with him. I wanted to take the fight to him. I knew he had more pace because I had a little damage on the truck, Kyle, but nonetheless, we will absolutely take a P2. I needed something to go my way, and it finally felt like it went my way tonight.
And it did. Second place for Eric Wineland. Eric, congratulations.
Hey, thank you to SimTV for you guys. Also, a huge shout out to you, Kyle, for the endeavors in real life. If that's never been covered on the broadcast, well, congratulations on moving up. But yeah, thank you to you guys. Thank you to the area team, Jacob Bell, and the admin team that helps run the show behind the scenes as well. And I look forward to next week at Michigan.
We'll see you there. And Jake Nichols comes home, and we're joking up here in the booth. All that for a Jake Nichols win, Jake. Through to the next round of the playoffs. And, man, it was a long night for a short race, but you win it. Take us through your perspective tonight.
Well, I felt pretty good. I felt really good last night, too. I love this place. Like the way I like to drive it just works right now. And I felt like last night was one that got away. We had a lot of pace, lost a lot of time in traffic, and then yellow just killed us at the wrong time. And we came back to at least fourth there, but I felt like if I got the lead tonight, I could hold on and just hold it forever. And a few, obviously, situations happened with some drama and wrecks. And once we got there, I was not going to let anybody go. And I wasn't letting anyone get even close to me at that point. And, you know, the 609 truck, the green machine out there looked pretty good, felt pretty good. And to take it to victory lane is awesome. That's 2 races so far this week that the number 1 seed going in has got the win. So maybe Thursday we can bring the 73 car back in victory lane and sweep that right there. But either way, it's great to win and automatically be in the next round and just have some fun next week, pretty much.
Jake Nichols wins a long one here at Bristol. Jake, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you then.
All right, Connor, wrapping things up here from Bristol. Final thoughts on a chaotic race. There was some good action interspliced throughout that, but all things said and done, we move on to Michigan.
I think these trucks at short tracks need training wheels. I don't know how that works, but do something about that. But it just is what it is. The short tracks in the truck series are tough, and we just had to get through another one. We will see what happens at Michigan. We know that's a track that could cause chaos as well. But at least the last race there, the chaos was on the green-white checkered, not really throughout the entire race for the most part. So we'll see what happens there. I have a lot of drivers near that cut line. You're going to need good finishes next week. And once again, by my count, Lakatos, Noel Weishart, Danny Ware will start next week below the cut line. Moose, Shearer, Schaefer, Daniel Day, Matthew Batby, they're nowhere near safe. John Hall, Beckner have some leeway. But Jake Nichols, the only one with no stress whatsoever at Michigan.
Well, we'll see everyone in Michigan next week for the Area Truck Series. More Bristol on Thursday for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. We'll see you there.